How are you? Welcome again to more conversations on our immigrant ancestors, those people who came from all over the world and helped make America what it is. You know, today I don't even want to cook. I think I just want to gossip. Because when I was a college student, I met a group of people that have just become some of my favorite peoples in the world. They were from Latvia. I met a couple of screwballs. Well, he's a physician. I shouldn't call him a screwball, but he was quite a lad when he was in college. The Max family from Tacoma, Washington. And he had a very strange ring on that was all twisted and curled. And I said, what does the ring mean? And he said, it is Latvian. Latvian. He had come from Latvia as a tiny child. And I think his younger brother had too. But the whole family had come. And I began to learn about the Latvians. Talk about a fascinating culture. The culture goes back 1,000 years, but they're almost an extinct people from the Baltic region in our time. It's very interesting because they were taken over so many times in their history. On the map, you can see where they're located and understand how they wound up as being a part of the Soviet Socialist Republic in 1945, but they've been under foreign rule since the 13th century. The Germans came in the 13th century. The Poles came in and attacked them in 1561 and tried to take them over. The Swedes and Sweden and Poland argued over them until the Russian Empire took them on in 1795. Since the 13th century, Latvia has had the hand of, I'll say it, they've had the hand of some oppressor on their heads. But somehow, these really formidable people maintained a culture that's absolutely gorgeous. The language, for instance, in Latvia, I bet you didn't know this. The language goes back to ancient Indo-European languages, back so far we can hardly trace them. Where did these people come from? Fabulous people. And they're dwindling, but they began to immigrate here, thank goodness, so that the culture, and good things are happening in Latvia now. They're beginning to redefine themselves, demand their flag, demand the teaching of their language to their children in the schools, and it's happening. I'm very thankful. 5 centuries of foreign rule, for heaven's sakes, and they've managed to hang on. During the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, we had lots of Latvians come here, but the big Latvian crowd that came between 1939 and 1951 because of Nazi and Soviet oppression. And they were all well-educated, highly educated people. They were multilingual. Well, you wouldn't believe what's happened to them. The Latvian communities in America are really exciting, and they have helped preserve the culture of this incredible community. Let me show you some people in the city of Seattle. This is Dr. Bamanis. She's making a very interesting potato salad with herring in it. Dr. Bamanis is an oral surgeon. She was born and raised in Latvia and then came to this country. This is Maya Ritsen, who's making Udin's klinger. I don't know if she's spent much time in Latvia or not, but she has her national costume, and there's a fierce pride among these women. It's just incredible. And they're all very well educated. Now, she rolls the dough. It has caraway in it. And you boil them a bit just for a moment. It's kind of like a pretzel bagel. And they're just delicious. Udin's klinger. Then she takes them out and drains them for a moment on a towel. You let them rise first, of course, and then boil them, and then bakes them off. As a matter of fact, it's 400 degrees at about 20 to 25 minutes. And look what she comes up with. They're just gorgeous. I've tried. I'm going to show you my successes and my failures. 1 success and 48 failures. But then, what do I know about cooking? Here's Dr. Bamanis still cutting. Now she's cutting the ham. She's finished the potatoes. Does all of this by hand. The woman is a physician. I want you to understand that the Latvian women have been terribly important in maintaining the culture. Livia Sursinis, I hope these names are close, is peeling a salt herring. You could practically live on salt herring in the Baltic states. Did you see the necklace she has on? It's amber, very important. Anyhow, she's cleaned the herring. She soaked the herring overnight, at least 12 hours, and rinse it off and on so that it's not terribly salty. She's making a wonderful herring salad that will go on a great buffet. The Latvians are great for big buffet parties and banquet parties in which they lay out everything and everyone shares the meal. I'm not giving you this recipe because you can see what she's doing. It's very simple. Onion, egg, oh, and in the background, Dr. Bemenis is still chopping away. Here's the result. Sour cream, the herring, egg and onion, and look, where'd she get the fish head? I want to show you. Now this one is fascinating. This is Anita Upenix. These people are at the Latvian church in Seattle, by the way, a Lutheran church, evangelical Lutheran church. Look what she does. She simply pulls the dough. I've never seen anything like it for pierogi. Pierogi. And then she cuts it with it, folds it over and cuts it with a glass. I couldn't believe it. Let me try. As a matter of fact, I had to try. You simply pull the dough out.
You can use flour.
She says, that's okay. Pat it with your fingers. All right, dear, thank you. Put in a little bit of filling.
Fold it over.
Exactly like that.
And then cut it just like so.
That's right, perfect.
Hey, that doesn't look so bad, does it?
No.
Marvelous. Thank you.
She then brushes them, makes trays and trays. Look, this is all old peasant food. She brushes them with an egg wash and then bakes them off. Beautiful stuff. This one isn't peasant food. This is her daughter, Mara, who is making a very fancy tort. Isn't she a gorgeous woman? I had to laugh because the minute that it was her turn to start cooking, Craig got right in there and wanted the recipe. I can't believe this. I don't know if he got the recipe or not, but they seem to have a good time together. She's a lovely creature. The Latvians have a very fierce pride in their culture, and you have to understand that the point of this series is to say that you've got to teach your children. And Maya's very good at this. Mara's very good at this. You'll see her children later on at the table in national costumes as well. None of the women seem to wear the same costume. That kind of shocked me, but they all come from different little regions, little locales oh, look, she's finished. 3 layers with 2 different kinds of jam. Oh, yes. Dr. Bamanis is still chopping away. She's about got it. Everything has to be cut into tiny little pieces. What is an oral surgeon doing? Making salad the old world style. I finally asked her, I said, Doctor, how is it that you women all have doctorates and college degrees, and yet you cook this time-consuming food? So how can you possibly do this? And she looked up at me and she said, so now you know how clever Latvian women are. I gave her a kiss. What a wonderful remark. There's the salad. We have to taste now and see. Little bit salt, she says. Little bit salt.
Really good. I love it.
No more salt. The herring has salt. Now Maya is going to offer a blessing.
Nāci, kungs Jēzu, svētī šīs dāvanas, ko tu esi mums devis. Nu nāciet mieloties.
And we begin with a lovely herring salad, a herring potato salad, a pickled herring in sour cream, the beautiful little Udin klingre. That's a birthday cake. Isn't that fancy? And then here's Mara's great tort, which is so wonderfully done. We ate and ate and ate. And you begin to sense something terribly profound about a culture. Look, this is Mara's daughter. This is the grandmother of the gal who made the pierogi for us. And she's taking lessons. The kids are all taking lessons in the language. I went downstairs in the basement of the church, and here there are enormous pictures all over the place of the choral groups they have. Latvians are great for musical times, song fests and that sort of thing. So the kids are learning. And when they grow up, and you say, who are you? They'll never say, I don't know, I live in Brooklyn, or I don't know, I live in Tacoma. They know, because they're Latvians. All right, let's cook. I'm sorry, the sermon had to be long today because I want to bless Mama Max. Darling, I hope you're watching. You're the one that got me into this. Okay, first of all, some dough. The dough is very simple for pierogi, and we're going to bake these, not boil them. You know, the Poles boil them. But these are baked, and the dough has been rising for a time. Let me see if I can just pat it down a bit. Sure, that's going to work. That's going to work. See, I can just pull it out a bit. It is simply milk and yeast and flour and egg and sugar and butter. That's all. Now, the filling is interesting. This is bacon. Boy, now you know it's Latvian, don't you? It has bacon, pork, onion, and salt and pepper. That's it. Now, fold it over here. And just, let me get this out of the way. Just be careful now. You don't want to get any grease on the edge, because then the dough won't stick. And then you just press it a little bit and then cut it off with the edge of a glass. I have never in my life seen anything so clever as that glass cutting trick. Isn't that? Now be sure and check the edges. It's got to seal. There we are. Those look pretty good. As a matter of fact, I think that one will work. Put these on a baking sheet and let them rise for a bit. The dough, of course, had to rise once. And you might want to put an egg wash on them, as did our friend. A little quick egg wash. Put them on a baking sheet and then bake them at 400 degrees. I'll give you all the recipes. Oh, and incidentally, please, let's talk for a minute. We've been doing so many cookbooks about so many different international cultures that a fellow called me up the other day and he said, I was looking for your recipe for such and such and I bought your cookbook and it wasn't in there. Please understand that each of the series has recipes that go with the series and they're in a particular cookbook. So please don't look in the American cookbook for recipes on how to make Chinese jellyfish. You're in the wrong book, all right? And when you want the Latvian pierogi recipe, you have to look on our immigrant ancestors, and then you'll find it, all right? I don't want to distress you when you go in and find it. You don't have the book you want. All right, put these on a baking sheet, pop them in the oven. Look what happens. 20 to 25 minutes. Now, let me see how many successes I've had and how many failures. The Latvian women who are now watching at the Lutheran Church in Seattle will howl with me. This one is perfect. You see? He's solid, right? This one looks pretty good, too. By Jove, most of these look pretty good. This one, however, Dr. Jimenez says, he's laughing at you. He's laughing at you. See, because he opens his mouth and begins to laugh. So if they open, like most of mine did, good Lord, here's one who's not only laughing, he's trying to give a lecture. Look at him. You see, if they open, then the Latvian women say, aha. Excuse me. He's laughing at you. Well, I don't want to laugh at him. Then we put these on a tray. This is very traditional food. And they're served, well, one night, Rasa Deshniks had me over for dinner. Her husband, Ed Knutson, and the family, we had a wonderful time. But I thought this was a main course, and I started eating these like mad. And after I was completely filled with them, with soup, then she brought on several courses, and I almost popped. Couldn't believe it. Very basic to the Latvian mindset. Let me get rid of this dough and the bacon filling, and we'll go on with Udin's klinger. All I want to do is to show you. I've had the dough under a bowl here. Show you what this is. The dough is very simple to make, but it has caraway in it. And what we want to do is to cut off a bit. Now, I'm going to use the back of my knife. Please note, I would never use my sharp knife, the blade, on marble. That's terrible. Use the back of the knife so that you don't dull your knife, you see. Cut off something about the size of a golf ball. I think that's the size of a golf ball, isn't it? That's pretty good. All right. Now, we want to roll this out into a snake, about 10 inches long. Not about. A golf ball rolled out 10 inches. That's exactly what we want. I'm doing this because when the gals at the church did it, they made it look so simple that I wanted you to see that I could do it, which means it's really simple. Whoops. Patch that paper. That's all right. Okay. Now then, you simply put one piece over on top of the other, and you get a pretzel. That's all there is to it. Now, these are thrown, let them sit on a towel for about 15 minutes, and then you pop them into boiling water, just like you would a bagel. That's how bagels are made, you know. Real bagels are boiled. Now, this hasn't had time to rise, so I'm not sure that it's going to float right away, but within a minute, it should be to the surface. Ta-da! Now, this is then removed and drained on a towel, a floured towel, then placed on a baking sheet. It's so simple. It's just so simple. But the thing that takes the time is the rolling and the dough and the waiting, you see. So in the meantime, you have your kids in there, and you roll these things out for them, and then you talk to them about what Udin's klinger is and how your grandmother used to make them and that sort of thing. Then you bake them at 400 again, about 18 minutes. Now look, I didn't do so poorly, did I? They don't look so bad. Well, some look like a snake trying to bite his tail, but I think the rest of them look pretty good. All right. Look at this one. It just looks awful. These are very delicious. Just very delicious. When you boil a bread dough, such as a bagel, you're going to get something rather heavy. In New York, there's a joke that if a bagel falls on your foot and it doesn't hurt, it's not really a bagel. I subscribe to that. We make bagels out on the West Coast that are light and fluffy. The only place you can get a bagel in Seattle is at Brenner's. They make them heavy. Those are good. All right, here you go. One more. Now then, let's get on to the biggie. I do have help, you know that. I have people that help me all the time. Craig is here, and David's here, and Marion's here, and Joe is, everybody's chopping, and we've been chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping. So now we're ready to make the doctor's salad. Here it is. And it is called rosolos. And it's kind of a national treasure. It's potato salad with beets and, well, I'll show you. First of all, about 2 pounds, and everything has to be diced up. Remember she did everything by hand? Everything's diced up very small. About 2 pounds of potatoes, peeled and diced very small. And to that, we're going to add, oh, Lord, look at this stuff. Can't believe all this. To that, we're going to add a cup of boiled ham, chopped up. See, here's a cup of ham. And then we're going to add 1 cup of pork. This is a potato salad? Oh, you haven't seen anything yet, kiddo. Just hang in there. And then we're going to add 4 eggs all chopped up, diced beautifully. See, I'm doing this one at a time so that you can catch on to it. And half a cup of celery. Try and keep the proportions as close as possible. And 1 medium yellow onion. Boy, that's a medium. I think that's enough. That's all right. Okay. And no, I'm not good at this. I'm learning too. 1 cup of pickled beets. Now, I just bought these in the jar, pickled from the market, and then diced them up into little pieces. They were sliced pickled beets. You've seen those. And 1.5 cup of golden delicious apples. There we go. And I need some, about a half cup of chopped fresh cucumber, but this is a pickling cucumber. The little bitty ones with all the warts on them? That'll make a great thing. And about half a cup of parsley and a half a cup of salt herring. That is the trick. Let me show you what a salt herring looks like. If you buy them whole, they come in a big barrel, and you have to soak them for at least 12 hours in fresh water, changing the water as often as you can, because otherwise they'll be salty. But if you're a cheapskate, like I am, in terms of time, you'll go to a good Scandinavian delicatessen, and they'll have them already filleted for you, so that you don't buy the whole fish, but just the fillets. But you still soak these. Aren't they gorgeous? Still soak these in cold water. So I put the herring in the salad too. Potatoes, herring, cucumber, all sorts of good things. Now, the dressing. Let me get another bowl here. The dressing is just terribly simple. Cup of sour cream. 1 cup sour cream. Okay, that's a cup. There we are. That's close enough. And we want a cup of good mayonnaise. Please don't use that sweet salad dressing stuff. I don't know how you feel about that product. But what do they call it? A salad spread or sandwich spread or something that people use for salad? I just can't stand it. So full of sugar. A couple tablespoons of plain old bright yellow salad mustard. You all know the brand on that one. And about a tablespoon of good horseradish. This is Manischewitz. It's kosher. Wow. This will make us stand up. You know the Manischewitz label? You should. It's good stuff. All right. Always good stuff. Kosher means, well, we did that show already. We've talked about kosher food. Kosher means it's clean, it's carefully prepared, and all that sort of right. Now, we need the juice of 1 lemon. And I'm going to always do my lemon juice fresh. You know that. I would never go so far as to prepare a dish for you with reconstituted lemon juice. I bet those people are getting sick and tired of hearing me say that. I don't even know what the term means. It bothers me to think that we have to, God didn't make a mistake on the lemon. And this isn't difficult, is it? And I'm doing this for the sake of my friends in Des Moines, Iowa, who keep writing me a letter and asking how I get the seeds out of the lemon juice. Well, I do it through a strainer, dear. That's the only way. All right, the juice of 1 lemon goes into our dressing, and some salt and pepper, and we're set. We're ready to go. Whoops. I have enough jars up here to, let's see. I want to fresh grind my pepper, of course. There it is. Just a smidgen to taste. And you remember she said a bit more salt. Well, I want to be careful because there is herring and there's ham and that sort of thing, so I don't want too much in there. Just about a teaspoon for the whole bowl, I think, would be sufficient. Mix that all up. Whoops. And into the salad it goes. Now I'm going to call for my helper here, and he's going to mix all this up for us. Craig, will you blend this for me so I can go on to another dish? I've got so many things to show you. You want to mix that up for me? Just stay right here. That's fine. Okay. Now, thank you. Here's one that's really beautiful. And it's one of the national dishes of Latvia. It is a jellied pork loaf. And it's made with pork hocks and then regular pork roast. And you boil it with a few vegetables, some carrots and celery, that sort of thing. And then remove the vegetables, the bay leaf and a little pepper, and put it in a mold. And you have it sets up like gelatin, you see. This is it's good. Serve it with a little mustard and some vinegar. You've got a dish that'll it's just delicious. No, it's not like head cheese. It's not as fat as head cheese. It's not as fat as head cheese. That's gorgeous. Okay, thank you, Craig. That looks terrific. Here's a potato salad with beets and, I gave you the whole recipe already. Isn't that beautiful? Just finished tossing that. What else have we got going here? There's some other things, too. Oh, it's time. It's time. This is kind of fun. Where did she get the head and the tail on chopped herring? Well, I'll show you where she got it. The herring is mixed. This is the pickled, regular salted herring. The herring is mixed with some egg and some onion, some sour cream. There we are. And then it's mixed up and put in a bowl. And look what she did. Very simple. She took an old trout. Well, I don't know if hers was old, but mine is. This poor baby's been around. There you are. And then she put, I missed the head here. There we go. Now he's ready. And then the head goes at one end of the dish, and the tail sticks out at the other end of the dish. Garnish that with a little egg, and you have a very delicious dish, and it's very colorful, very pretty. Remember now, I said that the Latvians love to do buffets and parties. They're very socially minded people. So this is what she did. You see? Doesn't that look great? Good herring. I just adore the stuff. I'm a Scandinavian, I'm Norwegian, so believe me, I know good herring. That's fun. And finally, we made an Alexander's cookie because I'm chicken. I was simply chicken to make that gorgeous, gorgeous cake that Mara made. It was just too much work. So this is a cake you make in 2 layers and put jelly in the center. And let's try and trim off the end here so we'll get good-looking slices. It's beautiful stuff. And then you put the 2 layers together and ice it with nothing but sugar icing and lemon juice. And look what you have. Wonderful wedges there. I'll just one up for us so we can take a look at it. Makes a wonderful dessert. And of course, a bit of coffee and some Latvian friends, and you're in good shape. If you don't have any Latvian friends, I'm really very sorry for you. Because they're a most unusual culture. Mrs. Max told me that when she was growing up in Latvia, they went to the opera at least twice a week when she was a little kid. The opera? Why, good Lord, most American kids, wouldn't even know where to find the opera house. We lose so much of our culture if we don't pass on our loves to our children. So when our immigrant ancestors, today the Latvians, came to this country, they brought with them a love for culture, a love for socializing with friends, and a love for good food. We've made an Alexander kuka. We've made some baked perogi, a wonderful jellied pork loaf that I just adore, and I don't care if you don't care for it. It's all right. A lovely potato salad with herring and pork and ham in it, another herring dish, and finally unduskringli, all from Latvia. Join the Latvians and have a good time. They're an incredibly important people in our culture. This is the Frugal Gourmet. Until I see you again, I bid you peace. Bye-bye.